The way real estate is sold today is massively different from what it used to be a decade back. Brands today connect with their consumers on a much more relatable and aspirational way. Now, be it quoting iconic dialogues from cult movies or projecting the evening view from the penthouse. Now, there are several reasons responsible for this change, one of them being the changing consumer behavior due to the massive increase in the usage of social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But at the same time, there are businesses within the real estate community, pioneers who decided to bring about this change and took the road less traveled. Today, I have one such founder, one such co-founder on my show. I have Vyoma Pandit, who's a co-founder in Flow Realty. Along with her co-founder Arun, they have done some tremendous work in enhancing the buying experience for customers and providing higher sales velocity to the real estate developers. And in that journey, they have had several learnings which all of us can use in adapting to this changing dynamics of the real estate marketing. I'm Digvijay. This is our Marketing Real Estate. Right back with Vyoma.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Okay, so you have worked in so many big real estate firms, right? You have worked in Lodha, you have worked in Brigade. How I want to start off with how the idea of actuallyslow came about.
Okay, so the real estate is a very small industry and very unorganized in India, if you ask me. After you've worked around 3-4 companies, you start coming up with the question of what is next. Happens to most senior people and especially people who come from different backgrounds which are traditionally not where people in real estate come from. So just to give a little bit of background, I'm a software engineer turned confused MBA and did my MBA from IIM Bangalore in 2009. And because of the recession year, had an accidental landing in real estate in 2009 with Lodha Group in Mumbai.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, it was never a career plan to get into real estate, right? Because most of the people who do their MBA are thinking of places like, in those days, of course, FMCG and consulting and iBanking and all of that. And now, of course, e-commerce and fintech, etc. So real estate is not something somebody chases unless you're into a family business. You don't chase it as a career option, right? But once you get into the industry, you kind of figure out how underserved this industry is with respect to high quality professionals and how much more can be done in this industry with respect to processes, customer experience, automation, intelligence, etc. So with that, having served across companies like Lodha, Brigade Group, Shriram Properties, etc., and all of them 4 to 5 years since, you kind of know that you have experienced various parts of the real estate spectrum. Explored roles in strategy, marketing, sales, customer support, etc. Now, how do you bring about something which is more lasting than your stint on the resume? Was the reason me and my co-founder Arun, who's also had a similar background, we've worked together in Lodha and he in Embassy, and then we again did a stint together in Shriram. So we thought we have a bunch of people. We have about 12-13 years of experience each behind us. And now how do we expand this knowledge base that we have to serving more companies who actually could do with a much better model of sales and marketing? So that's how the idea of Flow came about, saying that whatever services you're giving today to one set of developers at a time as an employee, can you expand it to the tier 2 set of developers? The tier 1 developers have a good access to talent pool across the country. And number one, very few good quality professionals join real estate. Of the ones who join, they choose to stick to tier A developers mostly.
Yeah.
So, and this is also the cause and effect of what's wrong with real estate. So the failure to attract right quality of talent, especially by young and upcoming real estate companies, also ensures that very, very few companies kind of get into the top 10 players in the sector and make a mark at even a state level or a national level. Right? There are a lot of people who come with great technical skills. A lot of developers are amazing architects. They have amazing technical knowledge, amazing product knowledge, want to make a difference in the real estate space in the country, but they do not have the right team to help them productize their ideas, to help them take it to the
True.
market in the right way, and the right
Yeah.
quality of sales manpower that can take their message across to the customers, to the end customers, right? And that's when the idea of Flow was born, that we will help young and high intent real estate brands and developers work on their entire product life cycle marketing strategies, and ultimately leading them to sales and cash flow, right? And that's where the origin of Flow comes about. So Flow has for us, it means two things. One is to help developers mobilize their cash flows, because cash flow is everything in real estate. A project gets stuck because of bad cash flow. A developer has to wind up his operations because of cash flow trouble. And in most cases, this is something that can be unlocked by way of better sales and effectively and eventually better collections. So we are here to start this cash flow cycle by restarting sales and marketing his product in a different way. So that is one idea of Flow. The other idea is, of course, internally we believe that we want our employee quality to be such that they experience state of flow, like the book. So we hope, and hoping some of them will ultimately find their state of flow in the work that they do with us. So that's the whole idea.
Amazing. Sounds amazing. In fact, if I trace back your journey in real estate, it has actually come about at the same time as the marketing landscape in real estate has really evolved in the past decade, right? And same amount of time you have spent in real estate. So how do you see this evolution has happened, and what has changed now as compared to what was the case a decade back?
A lot actually, but personally I was privileged to work in a company which was already ahead of its time with respect to marketing when I started my career in real estate. So most people who've been in the industry know that Lodha has been one of the pioneers of differentiating how real estate marketing works across the country, right? So that way I was very fortunate to be there at a time when people were not just trying to represent marketing in a different way by way of content, right? Or exploring different mediums, but also a lot of high quality professionals were entering real estate and challenging the way marketing was thought about it in this space, right? So, but the thing that has changed drastically in the last, say, about 6-7 years has been the advent of digital. So, say I can split part 1 and part 2 of my journey of about 13 years in real estate as like a pre-digital, post-digital era. Pre-digital, say around 2009-10, a lot of people, especially Mumbai real estate had started presenting content in a very different way. Right? Content was much more advanced. It was no longer about showing some render of a house or an apartment and saying ABC developers and putting a phone number or a coupon to get a discount, right? It had started taking content of lifestyle. It had started putting aspirational content out there. It had started touching upon a lot of things that the buyer never thought about while buying a home. So that was the time when people started looking at home purchase away from a transactional decision to a more experiential decision, right? And brands started becoming more important. Affiliation started becoming more important. You started having those Trump towers coming to India and Jade Jagger coming to India. We did a lot of this in our early days at Lodha, all these affiliations with Trump and Jade Jagger and Philip Stark and Swarovski and a lot of these, right? And real estate started seeing a whole different quality to what it had seen in the previous decade. While the content was shifting, the mediums were still traditional, which means you had to have very deep pockets to afford a Times of India jacket, which would cost about 1 crore in Mumbai, right? Taking a Times of India jacket, which means you, by default, you are taking out most of the 99% of the players out of the mix. That even if you make great content, distribution is so expensive that you cannot get your message across to people, right? And outdoor also is the next most expensive medium after print. Radio is a different PG, it's a good brand recall medium, but you, in especially in luxury housing, there's no way you can reach across to your audience by way of radio, right? So print, outdoor and radio were dominating most of the spends in real estate till about say 2012. And after this is when digital got little more aggressive into the market. To begin with aggregators taking the lead. You had your 99 acres and Magic Bricks, and then housing.com came and did some wonderful stuff on changing the way real estate is marketed on the digital platforms, right? So that was one place where people started saying, hey, aggregators are the people who are available pan India, who have a bunch of leads with them, and why don't we start taking real estate space on the mobile or the browser device as compared to taking it into the touch and feel mediums like print and outdoor. So that was one step towards the change, and a lot of nice experiments happened. Like we've done this participation in the Google Online Home Fest, and housing.com had this this whole VR thing with slice views and live inventories and stuff like that, right? But I think what was really the game changer was when Facebook and Google started coming into the direct foray, and where without any middle layers, without any publisher middlemen, real estate companies got an opportunity to advertise their content directly on Facebook and Google with budgets as small as say 50,000 or 1 lakh, right? And this was totally the game changer. It's not about how big you are, it's about how effectively can you communicate to the audience and also catch the audience where they really are. Like they spend those 8-9 hours on their devices every day, you catch them where they are. And don't wait for a Saturday Times of India to come, or don't wait for them to get stuck in that coding, at the signal and catch them, right? So I think that way it's been a very interesting journey, and I think now is the time when real estate marketing is really democratized, if you ask me. Lot of avenues coming through, and it's more about may the best marketer win.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. In fact, like as you said, the smaller developers and the smaller players are also getting a lot of opportunities to reach out directly to the customers. Okay, so on the same line, if you let's say have a budget of 2 crores today to market your mandate, how would you place it around the different mediums, and what would be your strategy about it?
As a young startup, I wish I would have 2 crore. I never get that though, because like I said, we mostly work with younger developers, and I really miss those days when with Shriram and Brigade Excel bole 2-3 crore ka launch budget hai. So really wish I could get that back. But yeah, if I would split it across say about 1 crore in digital, and digital meaning again depends on the stage of the property. So if you are an early stage launch which does not have any recall in the market, or a developer who does not have too much of digital presence or followers on social, then a large part of the initial 1 crore digital outlay would be towards push mediums like Facebook or display networks, right? And over a period of time, as you start getting a little more pull and brand recall, would move it towards the Google part of the spends. So of course, this has to be very dynamic. It will change over a period of time. But about 1 crore in digital, about 50 lakhs odd in print, and about 50 lakhs in site experience, site branding, outdoor branding, and on ground stuff. The last mile, where the customer is coming and experiencing your product.
Okay, amazing. That's quite a bit of change from what used to happen earlier, right? So 50% to digital directly, and almost 25% only to print. Amazing. When, like for example, for Flow, how have you designed, or how do you usually think of marketing play as opposed to what other mandate companies are doing? Do you bring something specific in terms of the marketing strategies to your customers, and what would be your secret sauce in that case?
So I wouldn't like to call us as a marketing company per se. We're essentially a transformation company. So what we do take pride in is that there are a lot of players in real estate today who do different parts of the funnel. So you have your experts in product design. It could be product design or pricing consulting companies who could give you a report on what kind of pricing and sizing would work in the market. Right, and you would have over the down the line in the funnel, you'll have creative agencies, you'll have digital agencies. So we kind of over the experience that we've had, we feel that the real estate cash flow cycle only works when you get all of these right with a team which has ears firmly to the ground, is in
Okay.
constant touch with the customer, is in constant touch with the developer, and completely understands what the developer is trying to sell to the end buyer, right? Which is why we work across the funnel. So we get involved at the stage of product understanding if it's an existing product, or if it's a new product, we get involved in design as well. What should you build? To of course saying who are we selling it to, and hence defining for the creative agencies we work with, defining very clearly who is the target audience, what do they want to hear, right? Then selecting the media that we should be spending money on, talking to channel partners in the community, making them aware of your product, squeezing in an offer. If offer is the flavor of the hour, then creating that reason to buy now for the customer. Right? So what we pride ourselves in is that we have extremely detailed knowledge of what the customer wants to hear and see in real estate.
Okay.
And what works for us in most times is that, and we're all people who have in our various roles earlier. For example, we had done this campaign in Shriram called Codename Dil Chahta Hai.
Okay.
And it was, while a lot of code names were pioneered in Mumbai, by Dodha and everyone else, but most of the things the market has been seeing is code name, you'll not get this again, or code name next thing, and New Dawn and stuff like that. And we were selling this 20 lakh product, in Bangalore, first home of many people in their 20s and young IT professionals, etc. And then we decided, saying that real estate is not always about opportunity, right? Codename is never always about you buy now and this is the next big thing, right? We'll give a lot more heart into it, right? So we said that, hey, we'll create 3 characters from the characters of Dil Chahta Hai, right? And there was, we did this whole campaign with sketches and personifying the 3 people, saying, are you a Sid? Or are you the Preeti Zinta? Or are you the Amir Khan? So, it was all about, and people loved it. People absolutely loved it. And they said, hey, you guys are crazy. And then we did this whole thing in Chennai called Codename Superstar. And it had Rajnikant and tunes playing at the sales office, and memes floating around on the campaign. And we even got a social media trail coming on, I think, Codename Dil Chahta Hai, and people were having a debate over whether this kind of thing works for real estate or not, right? So the idea is not to just do things to for the sake of it being differentiated, but there are things that vibe with the customer who actually sees himself in these campaigns. Otherwise, most of the real estate campaigns that you see out there are just one building after the other. And even at Flow, some of our campaigns, if you see what has worked for the developers, same product. The product was out in the market. People couldn't really, find the right fit with it. And we've done a different campaign without burning too much money within the constraints of the budget. And purely basis content, people have started noticing the product out in the market. So the differentiation of marketing is, it's about knowing extremely well what the other person wants to see. There's no science. There's no secret sauce. It's purely intuition. It's a mix of intuition, science, and experience, I would say.
Sounds amazing. Since you talked about, knowing your customer very, very well and being able to design strategies that attract the right people who are actually looking out there for that kind of property and stuff, right? So I want to come down now to the topic of customer acquisition cost, right? It's been something that has been reported to be rising quite a bit in real estate in the recent times, and frankly, from my experience, what I've seen is it's not very easy to calculate in real estate because of the complex value chain that we have, right? So how do you go about calculating it for Flow, and what parameters do you usually consider for yourself?
See, one is, a lot of people chase customer acquisition cost per se, like per booking, how much am I paying to get that customer to book, right? But most of the time we look at a top-down approach while calculating this number. So top-down, typically we recommend that a developer should set aside about 2 to 2.5% of the property value as a overall property value as the marketing budget. Right? And he could include a 1.5% outlay further for brokerage, because Some part of your bookings would also come from the brokers out there.
Brokers,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
depending on the ticket size, of course, the more affordable project will not be as efficient in marketing because the denominator is smaller, making the customer acquisition cost higher. And a luxury project will have a much more efficient customer acquisition cost over a period of time. But a good benchmark would be to keep in the range of 2.5 to 3% as the healthy marketing budget. Again, a lot of subjectivity comes into it. If you have a smaller budget, spend it mostly on digital, you will see better efficiencies and better customer acquisition costs. In digital, if you treat the funnel in the right way, you can keep your overall acquisition cost under 2% of the value of the property. Okay. But if you want the right coverage, you should ideally include a 360-degree media plan and have a bit of other offline mediums also. They are not as per se efficient, but they will give your campaign a direct fillip in terms of conversions down the funnel, and overall help you close the efficiencies at 3% of the revenue generated.
Okay. Amazing.
Hope that answers.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely answers a lot of the questions. One more thing that I wanted to know is, apart from customer acquisition cost, as you mentioned, the marketing spends and other things, what other data metrics do you usually track in terms of your operation, apart from, let's say, CAC?
So, see, if you see across the various parts and departments that a lead goes through, we track about 20-25 metrics in all. Starts with, of course, one is all your media planning. Where do you want to deploy the media, and what part of kind of spends do you want to do where. And then at a lead level, essentially you have your, one of the most important things is what is your lead run rate that you want at what CPL. So this is mostly our guiding metrics, and most of our spends, actually for us 90% spends happen on digital platforms. So for us, every week, for every project, we put a run rate and we agree upon that with our digital agencies. That this is the daily lead run rate, that is the daily number of leads that I need, right? And I need a certain CPL range in which I have to manage these. Right? Now, going from, so this becomes the Bible, that this is the number of leads I need daily or weekly at this range of CPL. Next steps comes is, what is the quality of those? So we have something called a green bucketing. So in the green bucketing, we share with the agency what is the percentage of leads that should be qualified. So we say agree upon a 30-35% as the green bucket category. Now, if you're having X number of leads at a certain CPL, you have got 90% of your funnel right. After that, it becomes a function of how efficiently your team is churning them. Right? So within then your telecalling team, you have metrics to measure the lead to site visit conversion efficiency. Right? Within that, they have their various metrics of how many are non-responsive, dropouts, lost, and efficiency per telecaller, number of calls made per day, number of connected calls. A whole lot of that stuff happens in between. But essentially, if you get your CPL right, if you get your run rate right, if you get your lead to site visit right, and over down the funnel, site visit to booking right, then between these 3-4 metrics, you have covered what is broadly required to be right to market the property. If any one of these seems out of order, then you will have to further break it down to go to your level 2 metrics and say which is the level 2 metric going wrong or a level 3 metric going wrong to be able to fix that part of the problem.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you so much for the details. I just want to come back to your point of site visit experiences, right? You mentioned out of your 2 crores that you spent somewhere like 50 lakh you will reserve for site experiences and the on-ground experience for the clients, right? So recently, especially after the first and second lockdown, the virtual site visit experience actually came about a lot, right? So have you invested in that, or do you see a future of virtual site visits with real estate?
This thing, we've been doing this in various capacities since the first lockdown. Okay, so when the first lockdown came about, it was so funny when we were having this chat in our marketing group and saying, hey guys, we've heard of this amazing new tool called Zoom. Okay, and probably we should check it out, right? And that was just like 3 years ago? Almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
and it's now such a household name, right? So and then
I
at
know.
that time people were just discussing कि ऐसा कुछ आया है Zoom करके and all of that. So we then in the first wave we started discussing, okay, there's a tool like this, we should possibly move to it. And in about a month's time, we had started doing virtual site visits. We got pre-recorded videos of our sales team. That was not the time when you could suddenly get into getting a VR or an AR experience because everything's shut, right?
Yeah,
so we had our teams going and shooting self-created videos of the model flats and all of that, and people sharing documents over a Zoom version and starting to do virtual site visits. It was also the time when a real estate customer was not very comfortable saying, "Ghar aise thodi select karenge," right? So at that time, people were okay because they had nothing better to do. They would take the call and say, "Okay, let me get a lot of information." It's one step into the funnel, and then when things open up, we would come and transact, right? So that was when we all did this as a part of Shriram, and we did this whole EOI strategy and all, and we collected in the first wave about 200 EOIs. Okay. 200 people gave paid money to block their unit without ever.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They had never seen it, and they paid 200 people came in 2 months and paid money. And we of course told them you'll get a refund if you do not go ahead with your purchase. But that was the intent, right? So it's amazing how people have adopted this, and it was how people have become comfortable with a virtual medium of interaction, even for a high ticket size purchase like real estate. So second wave was at Flow, and that is the time when we had launched a brand new property. As brand new as on the day the lockdown was announced was our model apartment inauguration. So the property was never out in the market. Nobody knew where it is. Nobody had ever stepped into the office or in the model apartment. And then we said, hey, now we know better, so let's take this launch online. So we took the entire launch online, and this property has about 200 apartments in all. Nobody had ever heard of it before, like I said. And at the end of the lockdown, we had 45 expression of interest towards the property, all by way of a virtual experience, right?
That's amazing.
So it's like people are really taking to this. And third lockdown was like nobody even blinks an eye. So it's like, acha, there's a lockdown. We know what to do, and in 1 week we are switching from physical site visits to online site visits, and everybody is very comfortable with it. They're saying, okay, now things open, okay, switch back, and in 1 week you are back to physical site visits, right? So tech has played a very big role in being an enabler in making this happen. That said, while virtual reality experiences would make it a lot better for people to experience their home, I don't know if we're still gonna have people making decision basis a pure play virtual experience. It's a product definition. It's a product category problem, if you ask me, because it is most people buy 1 or 2 homes in their life cycle. There are multiple stakeholders, multiple decision makers. You're taking credit. You're taking a loan to purchase the house, right? And you're going to be paying that over the next 15, 20 years. So while and also the real estate purchase cycle is quite long, on an average about at least 30 days, right? So it's not like you have to make a buying decision in a very short period of time, and you want to bypass the whole process and not seeing the property. So transparency, data, VR enablers, tools like Zoom, Google Meet, advanced level of renders. People make amazing renders these days to show what the property will actually look like. A lot of videos as well. These are great tools, especially for people who just can't visit, like NRIs. But I think it will always be a hybrid option for real estate, unless we start transacting and buying space somewhere in the metaverse.
In metaverse, Amazing. So moving from VR to AI, right? There has been a lot of noise and a lot of news about artificial intelligence coming to real estate and how it's going to impact, specifically in marketing, right? So where do you see it impacting the most, and when do you see the technology actually maturing and becoming a norm as part of real estate property?
See, AI has been, it sounds like a very big word, when people think AI, robots and all of that, but it's been very subtly entering a domain like real estate. So I think so far, as far as sales and marketing is concerned, we've been using it to, number one, smartly target customers. There is a lot of learning and relearning algorithms applicable in the digital mediums, at least where you are spending your money. So these are smart algorithms where over a period of time, you can reduce your cost per lead, you can reduce your cost of customer acquisition by figuring out early in the life cycle where and who are the people you need to target. So, and this mostly is being done by the publisher, like your Facebook algorithms, Google algorithms, and we really don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but there is a lot of advancement definitely in learning and making your marketing spends more efficient. So one is this whole lead targeting by way of, learning about your customers. And I think one place where it is not yet penetrated and it could help is if at the point of sale, there is more information and tools available to be able to know a little more about the customer without the customer sharing the information with you.
Okay.
So if you could look up the social history of the customer, if you could look up what are the other brands the customer is into, if the data is available, does he possess another property already, or how far is his workplace from the place project you're trying to sell. What are the kind of other groups they are affiliated with, so a lot of this, if this information can start coming in the hand of the sales team, then it could really help with making the funnel a little more efficient. But I think on an unrelated domain, I think AI is playing a very big role in helping the technical teams in terms of things like soil testing, or construction monitoring, or even post-purchase, kind of quality testing of the buildings. Project estimation, feasibility studies. So, what kind of material is required, how much cement and steel should go into construction of the building, etc. So, in a lot of these, there is already a lot of AI tech that has penetrated into the real estate sector. And I'm sure over a period of time, it will play a role in A, reducing the risks associated with real estate construction, and B, making the customer connect and customer acquisition more efficient.
And in fact, like as you correctly mentioned earlier, if you know the history of the customer, you can provide a much more personalized pitch, right? So the personalization factor amplifies massively. Amazing. So in your earlier answer, you mentioned channel partners or brokers, right? So as a business, how much of your transactions or how many of your bookings would you say are currently being handled by or facilitated by brokers or channel partners?
For us, again, differs from market to market. Our average in our portfolio is about 40 to 45% is broker contribution. So is the market average around Bangalore, right? Mumbai, Delhi would be in the range of, I'm sure, 70%. Mumbai should be in the range of 50 to 60%. But somewhere between 40 to 60% is depending on the market and the category where brokers contribute.
I mean, and what do you think of the position of startups that basically say that brokers can be eliminated from the value chain completely?
So Saurabh's a friend. And Saurabh, the founder at No Broker, is a friend, and I think personally, if you see it by way of a startup founder to a startup founder, I think they've done some amazing work from the time they started out. Though they have pivoted their business model a couple of times. It started out as an broker middleman elimination kind of product strategy. But I think they've smartly maneuvered the kind of discoveries they've made along the way, and now I think they're doing something which is in some way addressing a very big problem in India of resale. So because they kind of try to eliminate the broker, they, without knowing, they kind of, I think, ended up into individual sellers, which is mostly resale properties. People like you and me wanting to resell our apartment. So people like you and me wanting to sell an apartment without giving a percentage to the broker started listing their properties onto their portal, And now a
Yeah.
large part of their business has started coming from secondary market, resale
Yeah.
transactions, right?
Yeah.
But they're also, I think, they're also pivoting into having their own brokerage arm, and
Okay.
they're also trying to kind of, I mean, be a broker themselves. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so it depends on how you're looking at it. Okay, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people in India become brokers because the money is lucrative. You
Yeah.
sell a 1 crore property, you get 2 to 3% on it. That's a neat 2 to 3 lakhs, per transaction. And for a
True.
lot of people, if you're doing it in individual capacity, ek ghar bech do and you're sorted for the month. You don't need
Yeah.
to work for
Provided
anybody
you
anymore.
get your dues on time.
Correct, yeah, that's true. So a lot of people jump into it, but what i
Yeah.
would i would hope for is that, like other developed countries, US, Europe, etc., if at a country level we started having a little more serious entry criteria for
Yeah.
people to start a brokerage company, like a certification, a training,
Okay.
getting a license to be able to
Okay.
sell. The RERA license is not license; it's just you to pay something on the website. It
Yeah.
doesn't test your credentials, right?
Yeah. True.
So,
True. Yeah.
if you start having a little more qualification criteria for somebody to be able to be a broker, I think they can add great value to the real estate value chain by educating the customer of the various choices available, helping them
Yeah.
understand the financing of a property,
Yeah.
helping them with the right valuation of the property. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sure the customers need brokers. It's about how do we enhance the quality of the brokerage services offered in the
Yeah.
country.
Thank you so much for your time, Vyoma. It was lovely speaking to you.
Likewise,
And thank you so
Digvijay.
much again. Yeah.
Likewise. Thanks. I had a great time too.
Thank you. Same here. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye.